Why do we do good? We do good for many reasons, actually. One is that we do good because we should. We were told we should. And that there's really no excuse for not doing good when we can. It's just the right thing to do. It's our duty to do good. Another is that we do good because we genuinely care about this other. And so we want to help them out of that care. Compassion drives this reason for doing good. And yet another reason for doing good is because we are good. We are good. And this is one heck of a good reason to do good, actually. To put into action who we really are, so that in doing good, we actually express something and deepen something of our own goodness. We become aware of it even more. But what these readings highlight tonight, what these readings bring home to us is a whole nother reason for doing good. That we also do good because it's good for us. It's good for us to do good. When I was on retreat in the seminary once, a long time ago, a priest challenged us, my classmates and me, and he said to us very clearly, and I'll never forget it, he said, "Gentlemen, tithe your time to the poor. Tithe your time to the poor." And by the poor, he meant those whose brokenness was on the outside. The people Jesus just described in this gospel story. The hungry, the naked, the imprisoned, the stranger, the sick. Tithe your time, he said. Spend 1/10 of your time with the poor. I never forgot his words. They affected me profoundly. The temptation, of course, is to think of myself as the one who's doing good because of how noble I am, how awesome I am. Here I am, good person, me, helping these poor people out. What that priest knew would happen is what actually did happen. What I discovered quickly was that when I spent my time with the poor, I found myself. I found me. I was the one who was changed. We don't go to hospitals or prisons or homeless shelters because we're about being do-gooders. That gets onerous. And at its very worst, it can get very sick. We do good because we get redeemed from what we meet in the poor. What we meet in them actually redeems us. For when I visit those who are in prison, I am visiting myself. I need to visit the prisoner because I am one. And so are you. I'm not different from those in jail. I'm just imprisoned differently. When I see that, when I let myself see that, I am freed from my own delusions. And as surely as I go there to love them, then I can let myself be loved in all the places inside of me where I am not free. And they are many. When I cover someone who's naked because they're ashamed of themselves, I recognize what I am most ashamed of in myself, where I am most vulnerable. And through them, I let myself be loved right there, even in those parts of me I'm embarrassed to talk about and ashamed. When I visit those who are sick in a hospital or right down the street, one of the things that happens to me is that I meet in them my own mortality. And I don't like that very much. I meet in them how tenuous every breath of mine is and how contingent every fiber of my being is on everything else working at any given second. I meet my mortality in them. And if I can love them in theirs, maybe I don't have to be so afraid of mine. When we go on service trips here, whether they're international or just down the street, when we dig wells alongside of those who have no pure drinking water and have to walk for a long distance to get the water they need to live, when we offer canned goods like here times at around Thanksgiving, we can certainly be reminded of how fundamentally hungry each of us is, of how thirsty we are for more life, or even for the basics of love. We can meet in them our own restless hearts, and maybe in loving them in their hunger and in their thirst, I can begin to embrace and quit regretting my own restlessness and how hungry I am for love or for life. St. Louis is full of strangers, immigrants moving into our city like crazy. People are estranged all around us who know no one. Right here tonight, there are some, I'm sure, who are absolute strangers to this place who've never, ever been here before. And so often I walk through the city or I walk through this community hanging out with the people I've always known and ignoring that person over there or over there, out there, who's standing all by themselves, wishing to God somebody would say hi or ask them their name. And if I just took a second to do that, if I took a second to go into the city and maybe teach English as a second language to somebody who can't speak the language we all speak and feel so comfortably speaking together, then maybe I might find something of the stranger in me, in them, and all those times when I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere and I was lonely. And maybe meeting it in them, I could begin to love it in me and not be so afraid of it when it's my turn, because I loved it in them. What is most likely to happen when we hear this scripture that we just heard tonight, it's so easy to hear it and say to ourselves, yep, I'm going to go help those poor people. They need it. Yeah, they do. And yes, there'll be a cost to my time, my convenience. It might be messy, probably will be. But the truth is, my friends, ultimately we're the ones who are blessed. We're the ones who are blessed when we do that. We're the ones who are changed when we do that. We're the ones who meet Christ in that most distressing disguise. The main reason I'm good is because I need to. It redeems me. It saves me. It sets me free. The main reason we do good is because it sets us free. We are being saved by that all the time, what we meet in them. What is most likely to keep us from heaven, but not just heaven after we die, heaven right now, right alongside of us and within us. What's going to keep me from heaven now and at the hour of my death is thinking that I earn heaven by doing good. Thinking that somehow I'm different because I did good. Thinking that we're different from the people we serve. And we're not. We're not. That's why Jesus can say to the sheep in this gospel, come, he says, come. Inherit the kingdom that was prepared just for you. Because you see, the sheep were ready for the kingdom of heaven. Come, inherit the kingdom prepared for you. Because the sheep were ready for heaven. They were ready for heaven because they had already been there every time they visited a hospital or the person down the street who was sick. Every time they went to a prison to pray with the prisoners or to just chat with them or study with them. Every time they stood in a food line or visited a homeless shelter. Every time they taught English as a second language, or every time they met a stranger right here on a Sunday night. Every time they met something of the kingdom. No wonder they were prepared for it. And she could say, come, come. You know this. You know this place. You were here. They met Christ there, and therefore they met themselves. No more delusions. They met themselves. And they discovered there how incredibly loved they were, even in their brokenness. The next time you see a person who is poor in any of these ways, pay attention. Pay very close attention, because they could change your life. There are many reasons to do good. Tonight, Jesus gives us, perhaps, the most important of all.